So if you watched the video about the short about the cabin up there, we are also, that's going to be going here, and we've actually got to build a road basically straight across down to the turn off down there. So we're going to let them have a turn off in there. Mutton and the pet's running away. I'll turn the torch off, save my battery a bit. Oh, I don't know what I've done. There we go. So that cabin down there is the one that we actually brought from the Chatter House. Or we call it the Chatter House because the place it was at was called the Chatter. This is just a bit of a video. You might not be interested. I'm just going for a walk. We're heading to town tomorrow. First thing in the morning, I'm going to change brake pads on the Rover, on the white one, and then we will be able to head in and do that. But other than that, you know, it's not actually too bad. I do apologise. I am walking and I am only using my phone. I am trying to post at least one full video up a month, or an update of everything that's happening. I do know that someone had a comment on the JZ70. They wanted to have a walk around the JZ70. I am going to be doing that very shortly. In fact, I was going to do it today, but the rain came in. So I will be doing a video on that. So stay tuned to this video link, not the short videos, because I'll be doing a main video on what I know and what I found so far. I've now clocked roughly about 500-600 hours on it in the last year. I've actually done over 1,000 hours on it in total, I think, just shy of 1,000 hours. So we'll be able to work out pretty much what's happening. Is that 1,000 hours? No, yeah, it might be. Might be close to 1,000. Won't be 1,000, but it'll be close. So we will get an idea of what anyone wants to know. I can show you the basics of where all the filters are, which filters do what, and which ones you need to change more frequently. I will also show you, wow, it's wet around here. I'll also show you the controls. There is some of the controls I don't actually know what they do. So if I put them on, you guys might be able to tell me what they do. I don't have a book for it. I did have a book for it, but when it was on a job, I left it close to a main road, which is only really farmers and tourists drive down it every now and then. But someone found that they had better use for that JZ70 book, which is unusual because it is the only JZ70 in the Falklands. So, bunch of assholes is what I can say. But hey ho, might turn up, might not. I may have even taken it out of the digger myself, sat it somewhere safe. It might turn up. But anyways, what about, just look at this beautiful valley. And look at the settlement grow. Sadly, we're growing the settlement, but the farm's not making any more income. So, but then you look at this big lot of water. So, this big lot of water is nothing. So basically, where I walked, I was planning on flooding all the way around there and along there. So in the short video, I went on about doing a water wheel. This is pretty much where we're going to do the water wheel at. Apart from where we've got the temporary dam there, just to work out water flow and all that. We're actually going to build the dam roughly about here, and it will go across there. So it'll head across between those patches there. And the idea is that it will flood this little valley here, and then it'll go along and it'll flood that one, and it'll go up to about that clay patch up there. You see a little white dot, it's actually a drum that blew down from the hill. It'll come up to about there, and it'll flood this little valley. Not much. We're not planning on digging any of this out, and in all fairness, it may not even flood up that high. Up the ditch, it'll only go as far as that drum because it raises up. So yeah, be a lot of water, but not a lot of water. It looked like a lot, like this looks like a lot, but in all fairness, you can see the grass sticking through in places, and the grass is only yay long. So fish in there, look at that, they'll be loving it. The one problem I have got is I want to be able to keep the fish accessing up the dam when we build it for the water wheel. If anyone has any ideas on how I can do that, it would be much appreciated. So we're going to turn this into a pass eventually, and this is the water here, so I apologize for the noise. We've had a couple of days rain, so this is mainly going to be in use for us when it's winter time is the plan. I apologise for the shaky camera work. So that there is actually quite deep. That's probably what, at its lowest point, 1/2 meter, I would say, easy, deep. But we'd have to dig it all the way down there, because the hydro will probably sit about there. Even though the dam will be up there, the water wheel will be here. So I've learned a few things just by tinkering around. But this is our water flow that we got, and just what you see at the top isn't what we all got. So what you see there, if I put the light on, we've actually got a lot flowing underneath as well. So I got a 20 litre bucket and I put it in, and it filled up a 20 litre bucket in roughly 2 seconds. So it's 10 litres a second, and that was only with what we could measure there. So with what's going out underneath, I pretty much could say that we're probably hitting 15-20 litres a second, which is quite a good amount. Obviously, this is our rainy time of the year, winter time. Obviously, we get snow and all that, but we only need it for when there's no sun out. So this dam was literally just built within an hour, and it seems to be working quite well, astonishingly, actually. I expected that bit there to wash out, I'm not going to lie. But, yeah. So, yeah, it'll flood out around there. Do you think it's a worthwhile one? It is 430 meters roughly from Google Earth measuring, from this point to the 24-hour power shed up there. We'll be running 220 volts in a permanent magnet alternator 3-phase. If my calculations are correct, that's about, with what the water wheel would have, we'd probably get about 500 watts. We are going to have a water wheel at 2.5 meters to 2 meters high from the center up, so it will be like a 4 meter high water wheel, depending if we can fit it in. Or we might have a 2 meter wheel with a 1.5 meter, sort of 1.5 meter, depending on the size. But we won't know all that until we get the dam built, because we want to have at least sort of a 2-3 meter fall from the, what you call it, I call it the sluice trail, but it's not, it's something else, and it'll come down. Then the idea is we'll have the water wheel, then it will be a chain going up and onto a shaft, and then that shaft will have 2 big vehicle flywheels on it, and then that will be separately ran, and then from that shaft that runs the flywheel side, then it'll also run the gearing for the PMAs. The idea of having the flywheel separate is so that the alternator, the water wheel, has a big sprocket to turn a little sprocket, which I know sounds really, really silly. It's like, wow, that's going to lose a lot of horsepower to get that to turn. But once it's up to speed, if the load is heavy or comes on to the water wheel, then at least it's got the opposite gearing for it to kick in. Or do I have it so that it's the other way around, where I have a smaller sprocket on it, taking a bigger sprocket, and it doesn't spin as fast? My idea was to get the flywheels going. If we're running the water wheel roughly, say at, I don't know, 20 RPM, I want the flywheel to be at least going at least 600-700 RPM, if not double to what we need for the PMA. We need, I think it's 460 with what I've looked up online. What PMA we get and how we work it, I don't actually know yet, but it seems like it could work. The downside is the cost, whether we can justify it. Like, if we can run the cable that I think, it'll cost us about 2.5-3 grand to run a 10mm cable, 3-core, all the way up to where it needs to be. If it is incorrect measurements, then it could be up to a 6 grand cost of burying a AC cable all the way up to the shed for it. But we will see. The one thing I do know is that I do think this could do something, but whether it's enough. And then obviously about a kilometre up that way, we'll have another one way up in the valley up there, but that dam will be 7 meters high to 8 meters high. It'll be roughly 12 meters wide at the base and roughly 6 meters wide at the top, so it might even be wider at the top. But we're going to do a 12 meter wide base and roll it up so high, and then we're going to just keep going, and then if it slopes down, it slopes down. We roughly want, I think, a 30-degree angle of rock brought in, so yeah, we'll work it out, but I haven't really done the measurements on that one as of yet. This one's been the Guddle one so far, because it's easy to get to when I was bringing the digger past to grab stuff for the Chatter House project. So, and that's the cabin that's going up to the Chatter House. But yeah, let me know what you think. Good idea, bad idea, I don't know. A lot of my planning is build this, flood this, nice little barbecue area view with the water wheel, as well as producing power. Then up there is a plan of building a big pond and actually having a barbecue hut up there. And a little place where you can go and chill in little rafts and have fun, as well as make power. Everything's to do with making power. You've got to remember that power is a big crucial thing. So but yeah, I don't know whether it will work. I don't know if it will, I don't know if it won't. I've looked online. I think we can produce roughly 7 amps of charge to maybe 8 amps of charge at the 24-amp power shed. I know 8 amps doesn't sound like much, but I think we use roughly 8 amps of battery power for the house. So that would pretty much match it. So in the winter time, you know, we wouldn't have to run the generator as much, I guess. It might even be more, because I've taken it up at 220. That's what, 7 amps going up at 220 volts, converting it to DC from a 500 watt sort of system, say. Then it gets converted from that to 48 volts, which theoretically brings the amperage up a bit. I don't know if that's correct or not. When the time comes and we build the dam, I will be, I found a site online. He's in Scotland, I think he is. And hopefully he'll be able to build us the water wheel, the PMA and all the controls for it, and just bring it down and whack it in. It'll be about 500 mil wide thing, so it'll be about as wide as what that tin was that we bent up. When we build the sluice box, we're actually putting that corrugated idea into the chute, because that corrugated idea makes the water spread out equally, so it could hit every bucket equally. But hey, I don't know. Let me know what you think. It's sort of a 50-50 really. We could do it and it could work. We could be laughing. We don't do it, and I've been thinking about it for years, and I love the power of water. I love guddling with water. Tell me some person that doesn't like guddling with water. And the reason why I say this is, so where they built the road, I originally done a pond there, and I had a 4-inch pipe running through, and summertime, it's pretty much that 4-inch pipe would probably match, if not maybe a little undersized, or sometimes in the heat of summer a little oversized for the water flow. But in the winter time, it just hoofs it like it is now, and that's nothing compared to what it does. So like when we get a lot of rain, this little valley that we got down, this green area down here, that actually floods. The water comes down that quick, it actually takes a turn and goes down and then pretty much floods. High possibility that if we build a dam, have a hole in it set to the right depth, so at the height of the dam you have a hole, so if it does rain, it can go above what you need for the dam and then slowly bring itself back down to its level, give or take how much we've got with how much overspill we want the water to go. And before that bit of land down there, this whole valley is full of swamps. And when I mean swamps, I mean absolutely soft as hell. You can drive across it in the summertime, probably not so much in the wintertime. You can track a digger across it if you're careful. This valley here is the only bit of green space, and it's only short grass. It's not long. So we're not losing any feed in any way. The same as up there. So if we do it up there, yes, we're flooding a bigger area, but for the small amount we're going to is nothing. And then long term we have another plan that involves other dams out in the camp, pumping up to the hills to water all the dry spots in the summertime, which theoretically speaking, if it works, it should mean that the water that comes down the mountain ends up coming into this dam, logically speaking. So, and we're using ram pumps. So I think ram pumps work on a basis that they only pump a quarter of the water that they actually use. They waste 3/3 of the water goes back into the ditch. So if we had a ram pump set up, we're not actually drying out the ditch. We're taking one little cup every second. And I think a decent sized ram pump, you can pump 1,000 litres a day. So it's not like it's a big difference anyway. So we could, if we had, what, say 3 of them set up, it's only 3,000 litres of water a day. We're going to be drinking that a minute in the wintertime. So it's not really going to make much difference, but every little helps. I do think, though, for the, I can't remember what they called them, but I do think for those Paddleton wheels designed ones, I think we could run that all summer, as we have about 10-15 litres of full. With the height of the dam that we're going to have, I think we could probably get away with running it all year round, because it's only got, I think, worked it out, it was 19mm nozzle. So if it had a 19mm nozzle, then it's not actually going to be too bad. Sorry, you're staring at my ugly mug. So here we sit. That's the shearing shed, which is also the garage. If you look closely, that is another project that's going to be coming up. Then we've got the house that we brought from town, the 2 vehicles. Then we've got the cabins that we stay in now. That cabin there is going to be going up to there as well. That is my mate's caravan, which is going over there. That's going to be called the Chatter House. And then if we go way down here, that cabin down there is also got to go all up there. And guess what? It's about to rain. So, give you a rough idea of how much water comes out. This is way up the valley. This is about, what, 500 meters up the ditch? And we got that. Which this is nowhere near what we got flowing down the bottom down here. I don't think. Personally. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that would make power? Because as we go up further, we lose all these springs that are down this valley that's filling up that. So that is our most productive one for a water wheel. And we can't do a Paddleton wheel there because we don't have the height. That one, we would have the height because we're going to build the dam up to make it the height. It's not cost effective for me to bury pipe. I can only bury 63mm pipe. It's pretty much what we can get. So I would have to consider of getting like 4 pipes, I think it is, because we'll get 2 of those things put in. So that if one fails, we could go to the other one, and in the wintertime we could always whack on the other one. But we would get at least one of them anyway, but have 2 individual pipes for each jet. It would be still ran in the same filter. But so if you want to see all the planning side of what I'm thinking, and if you think I'm wrong, put it in the squiggles at the bottom, or link a site that a guy of a video that you know someone's done or going to do. Help me out. Everyone that's tried it down here, water wheels and turbines, do it for a bit and then they give up because they say it's not productive. I know of at least 2 places that's had it. One worked, but it wore out, and they've just got now a bigger system. The demand was more than what they could produce. I think there is plans of putting another one in, but we'll see. But for the water wheel one, I don't think anyone's done that. I know they've done the other style. But the theory is what I'm thinking, is I plan on putting this in and using this to be my main source of power with the 2 kilowatt solar. We are going to upgrade the solar, and we are upgrading the inverters. We just need these to work in the winter time. I don't need it to work all year round. I don't mind if I have to shut them down in the summer. That doesn't bother me. The other thing I want to have on the dam side is a way for fish to get in and out. So if anyone knows of an idea of how I can make a fish ladder, I know how to make a fish ladder where water's constantly flowing down, but because we could be using that flow of water, how can I have it so that fish can go in and out? I was thinking like maybe a pipe up, like just a pipe going up, 4-inch pipe maybe, and then just bending it over the dam into the water. But I'm scared that I might get an air pocket, and then it will siphon out my fucking dam, which would suck. Or am I just going to have to accept the fact that I can't get fish to go over a dam? It's a tough one. I like the brown trout. I like rainbow trout, but brown trout, I'd like to keep the river as much open to them as possible. I'm going to ditch down the other way and make deep pools, so they've got more area coverage down that end. But they do come right up this ditch, right up to where we're going to build the second dam. So The second dam, I know there's no way of me probably getting them to swim up a 7-meter high thing, 10-meter high thing. But I'd like to think there's a way I could do that one. But if I can't, then I can't. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry I bored you, and I probably have bored you. Don't forget to stay tuned. Let me know in the squiggle bit down below what you want to watch, and if you want me to do longer videos like this, or are you happy just with the short videos. Let us know. I'd like to improve. So, catch you later.